Hi there, welcome to BI Consulting Pro. Recently, I posted a couple of videos where I explained what are the best practices in Power BI and how you can optimize your reports and dashboards. After that, I received a lots of requests that I should make a detailed video. Well, guys, here it is. Now, this is the very first video. After that, you would get a couple of more videos where I'll explain what are the best practices and how you can follow and how you can optimize your reports and dashboards. In this video, I'm going to explain best practices that you should follow while creating your data model or data set. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. My name is Ajay Kumar and I create videos on Microsoft Power BI and Microsoft Azure. So if you would like to learn more, please don't forget to subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon for all the latest videos and updates. In this video, you would learn best practices for data modeling. That means what are the steps that you should follow once you get your data inside Power Query Editor, what kind of parameters you should create, how you can minimize the data load, and not only that, what you should do after loading the data inside data model view. Now, without wasting any more time, let's head over to my Power BI desktop file. I have already mentioned several times that whenever you are working on any Power BI reports or dashboards, you should spend 80% time while designing your data model or creating your data set. So in this video, we will go through a USA airports data set where we are going to do the data modeling, or we are going to get this data into Microsoft Power BI desktop app. On Kaggle, I found this USA airport data set. Over here, you can get all the information like what is it, what's in it, and much more. You can go through this page and you can find all the necessary information regarding this data set. Right now, I'm on my Microsoft Power BI desktop app, and here we are going to get this USA airport data. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the data from CSV files. So let me click on get data, and here we can get this text and CSV file. As soon as you come over here, first of all, you have to give a name to your table or the data set that you have. Now, the second step is to remove the unnecessary column. At this point of time, I don't know what are the unnecessary columns into my report, so I'm not gonna touch it. Please work on the requirements. When you get the requirements, that means your BRD, that is business requirement document. In that, you are gonna find each and every details related to the columns. So please get it from there. Based on that, you can remove the unnecessary columns. In that, you have to give all the fields name a business friendly name. And what does that mean? That means your end users are the business users. In some cases, those can be data analysts or some analysts as well. But we have to make those fields or the data fields business friendly so that it can be easily understandable. Now you can see that I have these underscores, etc. in my field, so I really don't want that. So I have to remove these underscores. We can also automate this process. In my next video, I'm going to let you know how you can automate it. That means how you can run a script and you can remove all the underscores or the spaces as per your own needs. But in this video, we are going to do this manually. So let me do this quickly. Now you can see that I have removed all the underscores from all the fields, and these fields are very business friendly. Anyone can understand what does that mean, and they looks quite good over here. However, if you will see that there is some red color is appearing, that means there are some errors in these ones. Some of the field values are not matching with this data type, and that's why it's happening. So what to do in this case? Well guys, in this case, I suggest you, this is latitude value, so you can change it to text or try to remove those errors over there. So it's totally depends on you what you really want to do over here. So in my case, I'm just gonna change it to text and it's gonna remove from here. After that, what you can do, you can check what kind of data type you need it over here. So you should do it manually and check all the data types. In Microsoft Power BI, always stick with the integers or fixed decimals because that's going to help you to save a lot of space. Now I'm going to change these data types quickly. Alright guys, I have changed all the data types as well as I have renamed all the data fields. So that was the step that is very necessary to perform while getting data through Power Query into this Power BI desktop file. Now you have to create one calendar table. As you can see that I don't have any calendar table as of now, but you would need a calendar table whenever you have to create any time intelligence text functions. So for that, first of all, you have to do one thing. Go to your Power BI desktop file. Over here, you have to come under settings, go to options. Under options, you have to uncheck one auto date time for new files. So over here, you can see that I have already unchecked this option over here. And same you have to do for your current file. I have done it already in both files. If you won't do that, what's going to happen depends on the number of fields that has the date data type. Power BI is automatically going to create that much of your different date tables over there, and it would show the hierarchy automatically. So please do not use this option. And if you have used it, please uncheck this, save it and load it. You would see that even more than 50% of the storage space, you can save it. All right. So please don't forget to do that. Now cancel this one. Now going back over here, I'm back to my Power Query editor. So we have to now create a date table. And in order to create a date table, I have one script that I have downloaded from Razor Edge, but we are not going to use that as it is. We are also going to parameterize that date script. So let me get my date script first. So what you can do, you can simply click on this new source and click on blank query. Please do remember that generally when we worked in big organizations, we have our own data warehouse or data lakehouse where we already have one calendar table. So you can directly get that table inside your Microsoft Power BI desktop app. If you don't have, then I'll request you to create it explicitly like I'm doing over here. So now we'll go to the advanced query editor and where we are gonna paste this. Look at over here. Here it's using fixed year, which is from year and to year. And you can change it over here if you would like to, if you don't want to make it dynamic. But as I always say, try to make everything dynamic as much as possible. And that's what we are going to do over here. We are going to create our minimum, that means earliest date, and maximum or latest date parameters that we are going to use it over here. And that's how we are going to make it dynamic, so that anytime you get minimum or maximum value out of your data, it's going to pick it up and it's going to change your date table according to that. Click on this done button. Now I'm going to name it calendar. That's it. Now we have two tables over here. What we are going to do now? Now we will start creating parameters. We have loaded the data. We have renamed the columns. We have changed the data types. We have also created a date table. Now our fourth step is to create the parameters. First of all, we have to create a parameter for file path. Right now, if I'll go into the advanced query editor over here, this is my file path and I want to make it dynamic. So just copy from here. Now I'm going to come over here on this manage parameters tab and I'm going to say create new parameter. The very first would be my file path. Here type would be text, suggested values would be any, and here I'm going to paste this, which is going to be my current value. You can change it later on if you would like to. That is our very first parameter. Second parameter would be minimum date and third parameter would be maximum date. So let's create minimum date. And type, please remember that type should be date. Value is going to come from the query, which we are going to do it later. And second is going to be my max date. Actually it's third, but let's say second over here in terms of date, and value would be any, and we are going to put the current value as well. Just hold on over here for a minute. Now we have to also create one parameter, that is load parameter or data load parameter. And why do we need a data load parameter? Over here we can create one more parameter, that is data load parameter. So click over here, data load parameter. Over here type would be true and false, because either we want to get all the data inside the Power BI file or we don't want. That totally depends on us. So suggested value would be over here. We are not going to say anything, but what we can say, true. So any value, either true or false. So these are going to be all the parameters, but right now we have to also get minimum and maximum date. That's it. It's not going to show. So what I'm going to do for the time being, I'm just going to write 111990, and here let's say 12012009. So these are my values which I have provided over here. But please do remember, we are going to change it to query because we want to get the values dynamically, whatever value is in our data set or in our data. That's what we are going to do over here. So click OK. Now you can see that you have all the parameters. So let's change first in this one, which is our airports data. So come here, and once you have to change the data, you have to simply select this path. Here you have to simply type the name of your parameter. My parameter name is file path. So file path, and here it's going to appear. That's all you need to do. So now this mQuery or mQuery code, which is loading the data, it's taking my file path parameter to load the data. And please do copy this one as well. And soon I'm going to tell you why I'm copying this one. So click on done button, and here you can see that it's loading the data. Later on, you can change the value, current value of this file path parameter whenever you are moving through deployment pipelines or maybe manually, so that you can change it according to the different path where your file is located. And it's going to work perfectly fine. Now, as I just copied this one, so I'm going to tell you why I copied this query. Basically, I want to get the minimum date from this data as well as maximum date. And I want to convert them as a list because I want to use the values in the parameters. So if you know how to do that, the simple way is that you just need to duplicate this table data, and then you have to get the column where you have all the dates, and then you have to get the maximum and minimum dates. So you have to repeat it twice. But the efficient way is to do that you can use one AI tool, that is ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you how to use that. Over here on this ChatGPT window, I'm going to write something to get the minimum date from the mcode query that I have just copied. Now you can see that it has written down the code and it's pretty convenient. So what we can do, we can simply copy this one, and let's go over here again, go to this new source, create a query, and here I'm again going to go to advanced query editor, Control A and Control V, and I'm going to click on done. Now you can see that I have the minimum date. So there was a problem, and problem was very simple. When I copied from here, it was taking this fly date as a column name, but ideally it was getting this fly date where before I renamed it. So please make sure that whenever you copied any code from the chat GPT, that you do the proofreading as well. You verify the code. It's really important. Chat GPT is not always correct. Now you can see that I have the minimum date, but in order to use this one as a query parameter, you have to convert that as a list. So for that, click on this to table and over here to list. Now it's gonna become a list over here. Now you can see that the icon has been changed, so it's a list, and I'm gonna give it a name as minimum date. So this is my very first query where I'm using minimum date. Same, I have to do it for maximum date, so let me do that quickly. Over here, again, I'm going to follow the same steps. I'll go to the home tab. Under there, I'm going to go to this new source tab, and here I'm going to paste my query. Go to the advanced editor, Control A, Control V, and then click done button. Now you can see that again the icon has been changed, so we have a minimum date and maximum date as list. Next, what you have to do, you have to go again to the manage parameters, click over here. Here you have to come to the minimum date, and here what we are going to say is suggested value should be from a query. And queries we have to select for very first parameter, that is minimum date, we have to select this, and same we have to do for maximum one. So select query option over here, then max. So that's what we are going to do. Now, as I mentioned previously, we have to now come to this advanced query editor for the calendar table because we have to parameterize it. Over here, currently it is using the hard-coded values like 2018 and 2021. I'm not going to use them. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here under this date part where it's going to converting date and taking from year as a year, then 1 and something like that. What I can do, I can simply type my parameter name. So which would be my mean date. So mean date, this is my parameter. And then for maximum date also I can do the same. I can use my parameter over here. This is my parameter, and that's how it's going to work. So now whatever is minimum date and maximum date inside your whole table data or whole airport data, it's going to take it from there and it's going to work and it's going to create a date table for you. And now you can see that it started at here minimum, and if you are going to just do the reverse order, you would get the maximum. So you don't need to worry about what is your minimum or maximum date. You can make it dynamically by creating the parameters. Now coming to the data load parameters over here. As I mentioned, data load parameters basically we are going to use whenever either we have to load the data or we don't want to load the data in any table. And for that, what you can do, you can first create this parameter. As I just mentioned, it's pretty simple. You can click on this manage parameter tab. Over here, what we have done, we have simply select the type as required, and here it's true and false. That's it. Any value, initial value, you can put it your own, true or false, up to you. If you are going to put false, it's not going to load any data. But if you are going to put true, it's going to load the data. That's what we are going to do in this table, which is our airports data, where all the data is coming. Over here, you can see we have applied steps pane and where you want to stop the data or where you don't want to stop the data. So I'm going to do at the last step only. That is pretty convenient. So for that, you can come on this and you can insert or add a step. But please do remember that if you have so many transformations after that, you can do that maybe probably after the source or after promoting headers over here. It's totally up to you where you would like to do that. But the main intention is that whether we want to load the data or we don't want to load the data over here. All right, so let's do over here after this change type. And here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert a new step. Over here, you have to use mcode function, which is table.range. So let me see, it should be here. I'll remove this, it's taking one extra table. And now you have to type your step name. What is your step name? Is the change type before this. So let's use this step name, change type. This is my step name. I'm going to say 0 when if data load, this is my parameter, equals to true, then it should load all the rows. And what is the maximum number of rows that you can put over here? Also, it's up to your requirement how many rows of data you want to load it over here. So I'm going to put the maximum value, which is 214,748,367. So I believe this is the maximum number of rows you can load it as 0. So basically what we are doing over here, we are saying that if my data load parameter value is true, load the maximum number of rows. Otherwise, load the 0 rows. That's all we are doing over here. So hit the enter button. And now if I'm going to come here to my data load parameter and I'm going to make it false. And let's go back over here and you can see that I'm not loading any data over here because we made it false. However, if I'll go back to my data load parameters and I'm going to make it true, and again I can see that I'm loading all the rows over here. So that's how you can control whether you want to load the data or you don't want to load the data. So far what we have done, we have load USA airports data and remove unnecessary columns or renaming them. After that, we have checked the data types and we changed it wherever it was required. Then we created one calendar table because we didn't have any calendar table. After that, we created different parameters, that is path parameters, date parameters, and data load parameters. And why we did that? To make it more dynamic. Once this has been done, you can simply close and apply. Now our data has been loaded. Now what you can do, first you have to hide unnecessary tables. Please always hide unnecessary tables that are not required for the end user. So for example, minimum date and maximum date, I don't need them. Now go to your data view and over here click on this calendar table. Now the most important thing that you need to do is mark as date table. So click on this your calendar table, select the column which is going to be your date column, and then you need to mark it as date. So come to the table tools and over here you would find this mark as date table, select your column and okay. Why we are doing that? Well, if you won't do that, then probably your time intelligence based DAX scores will give you incorrect results. So please do that. Don't forget it. Now you have done this. Now go to this model view. Over here, we have to create a relationship. In order to create a relationship, you should know which columns or which fields you are going to use it. We know that fly date and date is the one, so we can create a relationship over here. You can manage your relationships from here as well if you would like to. Now you have to turn them on, both options. What it's going to do, it's basically going to do to keep your all the key columns at the top of the table. So you can see that your fly date and date are at the top, so it's very easy to recognize them. Now coming to the part where we have to create the measures. Well, every time whenever I worked on the different Power BI reports and dashboards, and when there is a huge amount of data, the main challenge is that how to do the re-engineering or how to correct if any of the DEX calculation is failing. People create so many DEX measures and they just create one measure table and there all the measures are there. But when you have to do the re-engineering or you have to find out where the problem is actually happening, it's very difficult to trace it back. So how to do it in the best way? Well guys, according to me, what you should do, you should first come to the table where you have to create your measure. For example, this. In this table, I can simply come here and I can create a new measure. I'm going to create only two. Let's say our first would be total passengers. And this would be sum of passengers. Now I'm going to create another one that would be my total distance traveled. So let's create another measure. Total distance covered. Sum of distance. So I have created over here two different measures. Now the question comes, in which table you should create these measures? Always remember that the table with the maximum number of fields being used in a measure, please create over there only. And this is going to definitely help to other developers as well when they have to investigate the issue. They can literally go there and they can easily find this. If let's suppose I create a separate table and in the separate table I'm going to put my thousands of measure or 100 measure which are being cascaded. That means they are using or referring the other measures as well. It's not easy to do that. Also, always try to create the variables inside your measures when you are creating the calculations to optimize them. And you can again use ChatGPT to optimize your DEX code or query language. That's not a problem. Now, if you have these two measures or if you have multiple measures, you should put them in a display folder. So you can see that under properties, there is a display folder. So you can give it a name, measures, or you can give it any convenient name as well. So now you can see that my measure is in under this folder. So if I want other measure as well to come under this folder, I can simply come here, select this measure, put the name over here. And if you want to create a multiple folders, then you just need to do it using this / and type the folder name. That one also can be done, but we are not going to use that. So these are the best practices that you should follow whenever you are creating your data model. That's it guys for this video. I hope you like this video and you would follow all the best practices regarding data modeling that I have mentioned in this video. If you have any question and concern, please don't forget to let us know in the comment section. For all the videos, please stay tuned with us. See you in the next video.